The call came just after midnight, slicing through the quiet hum of the house like a blade. Maya Wintervale almost didn't answer. It was her brother's name flashing on the screen that made her pick up. But the voice on the other end wasn't his. It was trembling, unfamiliar, and when it said the words, "Ethan's dead," the world seemed to tilt sideways. Her coffee cup slipped from her hand, shattering against the kitchen tiles, the sound echoing like a cruel punctuation mark. From that night on, nothing in the Wintervale family would ever be whole again. Maya had always believed that families, no matter how damaged, could be mended. But when the coroner's report came back, an overdose, laced with traces of fentanyl, and when whispers began circulating that Ethan hadn't taken the drugs willingly, the fragile threads holding them together started to snap. Her father retreated into silence. Her mother filled that silence with blame, and her younger sister Clara disappeared into her own brand of denial. But Maya couldn't let it go. She couldn't ignore the inconsistencies, the missing texts from Ethan's phone, the debt he'd supposedly owed, and the old friend who vanished days after the funeral. Every clue felt like a wound reopening, bleeding anger and confusion in equal measure. What Maya didn't know was that her family had secrets far darker than she imagined. Ethan's death wasn't a random act. It was the spark that would ignite years of buried resentment. As she dug deeper, Maya uncovered a chain of betrayals that began long before Ethan's fall. Her father's quiet business dealings with a man who'd once been like family, her mother's desperate attempts to keep up appearances, and a secret affair that twisted love and loyalty into something poisonous. The deeper she went, the more she realized Ethan had stumbled onto something meant to stay buried. Tension simmered beneath every family dinner. Words that once held warmth now dripped with accusation. Clara, torn between love for her parents and her loyalty to Maya, began to fracture under the weight of it all. The Wintervale house itself seemed to change. Rooms that once felt safe now pulsed with unspoken words and lingering ghosts. When Maya finally confronted her father, it wasn't with evidence, it was with rage. "You knew," she said, voice shaking. "You knew what they were doing to him and you let it happen." Her father didn't deny it. His silence was worse. The revelation shattered whatever was left of Maya's restraint. Revenge stopped being an idea. It became purpose. She went after the man her father once called his brother, the one who profited from Ethan's ruin. But vengeance, she found, never follows a clean path. It consumes. It changes the avenger into something almost unrecognizable. By the time she stood face to face with her brother's betrayer, Maya no longer knew whether she was seeking justice or simply trying to make someone, anyone, feel her pain. The confrontation erupted not in shouts but in tears. Her father arrived too late to stop it, too late to mend what he'd broken. In the end, truth came at a cost. The man who destroyed Ethan confessed, but so did her father. The deals, the debts, the compromises, all of it for the sake of protecting the family. The Wintervales were left with nothing but the wreckage of their own choices. Maya stood in the ashes of her revenge, realizing that she'd avenged her brother only to lose what remained of herself. Yet in that ruin there was a fragile sense of release. At Ethan's grave, under a pale morning sky, she whispered, not an apology, but something close to forgiveness. Not for them, but for herself. The Wintervale family would never return to what it was, but perhaps that was the point. Some fractures aren't meant to be mended. Some are meant to remind us how easily love can turn to ruin, and how even in that ruin, something resembling peace can be born. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to follow us for more insights and updates.